Welcome to this explainer. Go ahead and take a deep breath, settle in, and let's just slow things down for a minute. Today, we're going to explore a really beautiful, timeless story. It's a fable drawn from our source material titled The Seed of Patient Growth. Why are we always in such a rush? Just let that question really sink in. It feels like absolutely everything in our world today demands instant gratification, doesn't it? We want the results, we want the success, the answers, and honestly, we want them yesterday. But true growth, as we'll see in this story, operates on a very different, much quieter schedule.
Part 1. The Impatient Boy. A village boy named Arun.
So Arun lived in this incredibly quiet village surrounded by rolling green hills, but he himself vibrated with this frantic, hurried energy. He was literally known throughout his whole village for his absolute unwavering impatience. Like when his mother cooked his meals, he'd just stand there complaining, "Why does it take so long?" When he sat down to study, he'd sigh in sheer frustration, "Why can't I just know this already?" He was always looking for that shortcut, always needing the finish line right exactly now.
Part 2. A Mysterious Gift. The Old Traveler Arrives.
The frantic pace of Arun's world gets totally interrupted when an old traveler arrives in the village. This man carried absolutely nothing but a small wooden box, and his eyes were just full of this deep, calm wisdom. Arun, being Arun, pushes his way right through the gathered crowd and immediately demands to know what's in the box. Okay, let's dive into this, because the old man's response was wonderfully simple. He smiled gently and replied, "Something that grows." Arun, obviously hoping for some kind of instant magic, eagerly asked if it was magical. The traveler replied, "In a way, but only for those who understand patience."
You can almost see the contrast here, right? You've got the deep stillness of the traveler, and then Arun, who is physically rolling his eyes at the old man's wisdom. "I don't have time for riddles," Arun says. "Just show me." So the old man opens the box, takes out a small, completely ordinary-looking seed and hands it to her boy, telling him that if he cares for it, it's going to give him exactly what he needs most.
Part 3. Rushing the Process. Aaron's first attempt.
Arun literally laughs at the old man. He thinks this is going to be easy. He declares he'll plant the seed right now and come back tomorrow to see his reward. The old man warns him it doesn't work that way, but Arun just sprints off, completely ignoring him. As you'll see here, this brilliantly illustrates the two divergent paths Arun takes. On side A, we have control and rush, which is his disastrous first attempt, and over on side B, care and patience. Let's look at what happens when you try to force the whole process.
So Arun plants the seed behind his house and pours a whole bucket of water over it. He proudly commands it to grow fast. The next morning, absolutely nothing. So what does he do? He pours 2 buckets of water. Still nothing. Frustrated, he mutters that it must be the soil. So he digs it up. He moves it. He waters it again. Days pass with 0 results. It is just a chaotic, frantic attempt to control nature.
Angry, Arun storms back to the traveler, shouting that the seed is broken and that he did everything right. The old man looks at him calmly and gently asks, "Did you give it time?" Arun protests that he gave it water, he moved it, he checked it every single day. The traveler softly replies that this is exactly why it didn't grow. Arun didn't care for it. He controlled it. He rushed it.
Part 4. The Power of Patience. Trying again.
Arun asks the crucial question. So, what should I do? The traveler tells him to plant it again, but this time, give it patience. When Arun tries again, his approach is entirely different. Step 1, water gently. Step 2, remove weeds. Step 3, wait. Every single morning, Arun visits the spot. He gives it just enough water, he clears away the weeds, and then he simply watches. It becomes a quiet, steady, rhythmic, daily routine.
But, it wasn't easy. The very next day after planting it that second time, Arun felt that old, familiar urge to dig it up again, to check on it, to force it. But he stops himself. He remembers the old man's words. He mutters to himself, "Be patient." This right here is the internal struggle, the exact moment the boy actually begins to change his own nature. And slowly, the passage of time does its work. On day 1, he plants it gently. Weeks later, he's finally rewarded with a tiny green sprout breaking through the soil. He doesn't rush it then either. He simply cares for it. And months later, that tiny sprout triumphs, becoming a magnificent golden tree.
Part 5. The Golden Tree. A Beautiful Transformation.
The seed blossomed into a breathtaking tree with golden fruits that literally shimmered in the sunlight. But the most fascinating part of this whole story isn't actually the tree, it's Arun's evolution. Before, he was always complaining and rushing. After, he became so much calmer. When his mother cooked, he stopped complaining and instead just helped her and waited. When he studied, he took the time to truly understand the material instead of just rushing to the end of the chapter. When things didn't happen immediately, he didn't get angry. He just kept trying.
Back at the magnificent golden tree, Arun picks one of the shimmering fruits and takes a bite. It is the absolute sweetest thing he has ever tasted. But more importantly, it fills him with a deep sense of peace and satisfaction. In that quiet moment, looking at the tree, Arun finally understands the traveler's cryptic message from all those months ago. The tree hadn't just grown fruit, it had grown patience inside of him.
The crucial takeaways from Arun's journey are pretty clear. First, good things take time. There are absolutely no shortcuts to meaningful results. Second, patience paired with consistent effort, like gently watering and weeding every single day, that's what leads to true growth. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, the most profound growth happens within ourselves as we actually go through the process. Years later, Arun became known as one of the wisest people in his entire village, constantly sharing the story of the simple seed and the time it takes to really grow. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. What seed in your life do you need to stop rushing? Take a moment, let that question sit with you, and remember to give your own growth the time it truly deserves.